Perfect. Matt, Alex, welcome to the podcast. Alex, you're gonna have to give me an intro of yourself because I wasn't prepared for you to be here, but that is so awesome that you're here. So welcome. Thanks for joining us. Matt, and I'm gonna ask you both a question after I do this little intro, but Matt, our I guess content producer. Was very excited to have you on for this episode. Has been doing the communications with you and has been following your Instagram and all that. And the recent video that you posted saying that you've cooked for Brett Kissel and you've cooked for Snoop Dogg and the Trailer Park Boys. And we were hoping to get one of the guys that was on Trailer Park Boys on this episode. So welcome to you two. I want to ask you guys this first question, and it's a question that's been on my mind only recently, and is a hot dog a sandwich?
A hot dog a sandwich? Jeez, that's a hard question.
No, it's a roll.
It's a roll, yeah, there you go. I'll go with that.
Barbecue guys should be the ones you ask that question, right? It is
my
a tough
barbecue,
one.
usually there's not too many hot dogs usually on my barbecue.
Yeah, I can't tell you the last time I've cooked a hot dog on barbecue.
It's kind of like a frowned upon, like if you really want to do a barbecue, you don't do hot dogs.
Yeah, well, I mean, fishing derbies are cool. I remember one of my buddies, Matt, he brought an Ironwood 885 to a fishing derby,
Yeah.
and he was just cooking hot dogs and the two kids came up and grabbed their mother, got them some hot dogs. They went fishing, and then she come back, and I happened to be standing there when she come back.
Yeah.
And when she come back, she's like, "What did you guys do to these hot dogs?" She's like, "My boys are freaking out." I was like, "It's just a Traeger." It's like they put it on there and cooked it, and she's like, "That's insane." She's like, "I've never seen them do this over food anyway."
Oh
before."
my
So
God.
that was pretty cool.
So the grill makes the hot dog.
The grill makes the hot dog.
Yeah. Or the griller. Because we were
The
talking
grill.
earlier that sometimes you get some of these machines that you have to fix, and it's not really the grill, it's
Yeah.
the person cooking, right?
Yeah.
So Alex, tell me a little bit about like what involvement you have or how you guys know each other and kind of what what your business is.
Uh, our friendship started, I guess, over barbecues.
Okay, cool.
Started as a customer, and then one thing turned to another, and next thing you know, I'm going on all these places cooking for all kinds of different people.
Okay, okay,
He's got the best brisket.
okay,
He's got the brisket.
okay. So you're the brisket man.
Apparently, I'm the brisket guy.
So what is, because listen, I talked to you guys a little bit before this. Like we do several barbecue demos. Every year we go to our stores, we go to contractors on the job sites and all that. I think the furthest extent we've taken it is like doing like slow roast, like do pulled pork and then do pulled pork sandwiches. So that's probably our extent of like how far we brought it so far.
Yep.
I'm kind of scared of doing a brisket. So what are the steps? How do you get the perfect one?
You got to make bad barbecue before you're gonna make good barbecue.
That's true, eh?
Just time, putting the effort in,
Yep.
and the more you do, the easier it gets, and
Yeah.
the less you start. Like we did Celtic Lodge up in Cape Breton, up
Okay.
at Highland Links. We went up there and did a cook, and Chef Chad up there, he brought in it was 4 high-end briskets,
Yeah.
and they were beautiful. It was probably I think it was
Probably the nicest briskets I've ever trimmed.
Yeah.
and we put them on. We had them on Iron 650s because that's the grill I, at this point, trusted the most.
Okay.
And we put them on around 9 o'clock at night, and there's 3 of us,
Okay.
three grill guys,
Yeah.
and we never checked them till about 12 hours later. We left the grill. We trusted that much. We just let the briskets go,
Okay.
and we never lost any sleep. And
Okay.
they turned out, they were so good, those briskets.
So is it about, because what you're saying there and kind of blows me away that it's like you don't even touch them. Is it about the prep before? Like what's your process with that?
The process in that, it's just let the Traeger do its thing.
Yeah.
That's set it and forget it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely big on make sure they're trimmed right,
Right.
airflow.
Yeah.
But
I just
at the end of the day, the grill does the work for you.
So is the 650 the best one then?
Overall, it's hard to place the best one because they all got their place.
Yeah.
But overall, customer feedback, that would be probably out of all customers, that would be the top one.
Okay.
But now they have discontinued it.
Yeah, I know.
And then, the Woodridge, everything we're getting the feedback on everything on it has been amazing so far.
Okay.
And I'm going to put the Woodridge Pro through its paces. It's going to be my #1 used grill this summer.
Okay.
Yeah, because I brought one on. It says if I need another Traeger, because I think it's 9 in the backyard now.
Oh my God.
But, and then Alex he's in the process of building his own offset smoker.
Okay. No way.
Yeah, I'm building a 500-gallon offset right now.
So tell me about that.
So it started its life as a 500-gallon propane tank.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't know how to. Just one of them things. I decided one day
You're just like, fuck it.
I'm building one.
Yeah.
It's the next level. Traeger's like a pellet grill, and charcoal's kind of your stepping stone to the almighty, which is the offset smoker.
Okay.
That's why you see, if you get on forums online, you'll see the guys down Texas.
They're
like,
the offset.
the pellet grill's a easy bake oven.
Right.
They're like, that's not barbecue.
Okay.
But it's like the Canadian palate, like if I fed everyone off an offset, some people won't like it because that deep smoke, because our palate's not ready for it up here. So that's why when you feed off a pellet grill, they're still getting that kiss of smoke.
Okay.
You might not have that deep smoke. Your bark might not be as thick on your briskets or your meat.
Okay.
But our palate seems to, and that's why, like how you said, how you guys cook pulled pork, that's the best mass produced for people to actually get a taste of it.
Oh yeah.
Like, and it's easy, like, because pulled pork's so forgiving to cook.
Yeah.
And I like a challenge.
Yeah.
I've got the Traeger mastered.
Yeah.
Time to.
So those are, if I understand correctly, the offsets. Your chain, like obviously your big gallon, your 500-gallon tank, houses your grill. You don't have anything in that though.
No.
So what's the fuel in there? What's the process for that?
Charcoal and wood.
Okay. And are you talking about like big logs of wood, like what?
Yeah, well,
like
you'd be
firewood that you burn in your house.
Okay. So it's literally
a little bit more fussy on what you're burning. Like,
okay,
you're not going to be burning birch in it, but maple and hickory and oak, stuff like that.
And that obviously gives you like that good flavor profile.
Different flavors,
Yeah, so R&R Smokers and Quispam Sis, he's kind of like he's the Atlantic Canadian kind of builder.
Yeah.
So we actually fired, he came down to, it was a Tyler Joe Miller concert down in Truro. And what I did was I set up with the guy putting on the concert. He contacted me and asked me if I'd cook for 3,000.
Okay.
And I was like, F no. It's like, I can't do that. But I was like, I'm not going to count out. I was like, leave it with me. So I contacted Michelle at R&R Smokers, and he had a big 1,000-gallon. Yeah. And then I had a customer that was catering, and he had a smaller offset. Yeah. So he knew how to run an offset. So what we did was Michelle brought down his big 1,000-gallon offset. Okay. And then we got Travis to run the 1,000-gallon for him. And what did they do that weekend? I think they did 40.
I think it was 40 briskets and like 60 pork shoulders
or something. It was crazy numbers because it's 1,000 gallons, so it's huge. And then the event holder, he served through his concessions. Okay. And then we just sat up with Traegers and we just smoked bacon wrapped Oreos for the crowd.
Nice.
Yeah, so we just cooked bacon wrapped Oreos and talked to the crowd and just had a good old time listening to Tyler Joe.
God damn.
And Tyler's actually a good friend now because we cooked for him there. And then last year I was down at Boxcar Fest with him, and we went to the after party with the Rec Laws, and that was a good time. It was it's crazy because barbecue brings everyone together.
100%.
And like in back home in our backyard, like at my backyard and a couple of the other Traeger guys, you'll come over on like a Saturday, there'll be 25 of us in the backyard, and everyone brings meat.
Yeah.
It's like, instead of bring your own beer, it's like bring your own meat.
Yeah, yeah.
And we just throw the grills. We have all the grills going. You never know what you're gonna get there.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
there'll be deer poppers, and someone gets a moose. So there'll be moose meat there, and you just never know what's gonna show up.
What's the most experimental things you've tried on the grill?
Most experimental. What? I'm just trying to think. We just do random fun stuff because like
Yeah.
most of our cooking is just kind of marketing. We get out and just
Yeah,
get out
yeah.
and let like people like bacon, like for example the bacon wrapped Oreo.
Yeah.
Like when a fella reached out to me for the Snoop Dogg event,
Okay.
he reached out and he's like, do you want to cook for Snoop? And I'm like, well, what kind of question is that? I was like, of course I do. He's like, well, give me some ideas. I was like, man, Snoop Dogg concert. I was like, everyone's gonna be smoking the,
Yeah,
you know what?
yeah.
And I was like, when they come down, they're gonna have the munchies.
Yeah.
So when they're coming, they're gonna be looking for. I was like, smoked bacon wrapped Oreos. And I was like, everyone talks about it, they love it, and you
Yeah.
can't get anything crazier for that party. And he's like,
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
So then everything's last minute, so I show up, and it's like I didn't even get my Oreos till like later in the night, like
Okay.
9 o'clock. I didn't get my Oreos. I'm like,
Okay.
holy cow! But I was ready at 4 with all my grills going, the tent out. And
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
down on Argyle Street in Halifax,
Okay.
right down by the convention center,
Yeah.
like in that big open.
Yeah.
I'm rolling smoke Traeger all up and down Argyle Street, and get these big wrapped Oreos on. Then I just go up and I'm serving on platters. So I'm walking through and everyone's loving them. And there was like, Mercules, the rapper.
Oh yeah.
He was there. I didn't, at that point in time, I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
And my brother seen my post and he's like, that's Mercules. So then I looked him up and I'm like, holy cow, this is a big deal. But I didn't realize.
Yeah.
I asked him, I was like, do you mind if I get a picture of you eating this bacon wrapped Oreo? And that was before I knew who he was.
Yeah.
So I take this picture of Mercules eating this Oreo and he's like, what did I just put in my mouth? And it was just good laugh. And then later that night, Snoop has some pretty big bouncers.
Okay.
So they actually let me by. So it's big 7'2", 7'4", like this massive guy lets me by with my last 2 Oreos on my tray.
Yeah.
And I offer it up to Snoop. And he starts wiggling his hips and pointing at me. He's like, I'm smoking a J.
Yeah.
So I can't really eat when I'm smoking. But then he's like, I'm gonna dedicate this next song to the cookie guy. And he points at me. And by that time I'm trying to get my phone out to get my content. So I just get it out and he's like, you got what I want, not what I need. And I'm like, you just can't make this stuff up. And you got Bubbles, Ricky and Julian on stage and it's just hilarious. And then yeah, from then the Coldstream, are you familiar with Coldstream? The Coldstream brand, Nova Scotia?
Yeah.
So Coldstream, they just they're doing a collab. So we're actually going to see the Trail Park Boys tomorrow
Okay.
in Stewiacke.
Okay.
And because they're doing a launch with a collab. And so now the Trail Park Boys are doing a Coldstream collab.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a cool thing that come out through all the connections.
Yeah.
And,
All
but yeah,
throughout
it's
food, eh?
all through food. Like foods, everybody eats.
Everybody eats.
Yeah. And
And that was a big thing, like, because we probably, I would say 3.5 years ago, we were, this store's been here for, it's probably going close to 15 years now, but at first we were really big on lighting. So like obviously really big lighting gallery and our focus was on that. But I think with people getting more used to ordering stuff online, I think lighting became something that you didn't need to come in and actually see as much. And people were shopping online much more, right? So we're trying to figure out what is it that we can do that is just an untapped potential. And we carry in all of our stores in the home hardware store, you carry barbecues, but displaying a barbecue in a hardware store is unless you dedicate a real section to it, it's just in an alley, and it's not getting the attention, and you maybe don't have a person that's enthusiastic about talking about the grills, or even doesn't even own a grill, right? So we were like, okay, let's dedicate a section in here where we have dedicated consultants. We have people that are enthusiastic about barbecues and stuff like that, and let's really focus on trying to grow that, right? And I, before this, had worked in the hospitality business for quite a long time, and when we made this decision, I was like, you guys need to be really like mindful that it's not even about the grills, it's about the cooking and the community you build around it, and it's not going to work without that.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to invest in making sure that you're participating in events, or that you're having those demos, or you're really getting to you're being a part of that community of the barbecuers, right? So we've had some success. We're continuing to grow. We brought the big green eggs in. What are your thoughts on big green egg?
I don't carry them. I'm a Kamado Joe dealer.
Okay.
Yeah, I was always a Kamado Joe dealer. The charcoal, at one point we did move a lot of charcoal, but the charcoal nowadays it seems to be in a bit of a lull.
Okay.
But Big Green Egg has a huge community. We're friends with a bunch of them. We were just down in Florida with like Dark Side of the Grill.
Okay.
He's a good friend through our barbecue community, and a lot of my Traeger buddies at one point used to be Big Green Egg influencers.
Okay.
And then the egg, I had a Kamado Joe, which is like comparable to the egg for, I had mine for 8 years, and I get nothing bad to say. I love them. And I will have another charcoal Kamado at some point on my patio. It's just, I get way too many Traegers, and I might not have a wife if I if I get too many more.
It's like one more barbecue. And...
Alex can contest to that one. It's, but yeah, like they got a wicked community. The Eggers, you get down there, you guys, Maritime, and you got Halifax is a big one, and it's any barbecue's fun. Like when you get down around everybody, you get down around those. It's crazy. Like we just went to Pigfest.
Okay.
And it was
at the end of the day, it's all the same. It brings people together.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So in terms of like, if someone were to start, like, has never owned a barbecue, what would you guys recommend? Like, should someone start with a propane grill? Like, everybody seems to have started, like, I'm of the generation that their dad had either, like my dad, I'm originally from England, so that Weber, like the alien looking Weber with the charcoal was like the classic like English grill, right? So my dad was used to doing charcoal. However, when we came here, it was really like, you get a propane grill and that's it. So I think I grew up knowing propane, but then fell in love with using what I consider a specialty grill. But I'm thinking about today's generation being like, now that we've got so many of these brands that are coming out with some really cool stuff, what would you recommend?
So the Weber kettle was like, that was the original backyard grill.
Yeah.
Like if you go way back, that was the original. That's where the old dad with the with the apron with the backyard, that was the original.
Yeah.
And the nowadays, of course, I mean, we knew this was in a conversation with Tariffs and stuff.
Yeah.
Napoleon has a kettle too.
Okay.
And they're a Canadian company.
Okay.
So I think we're gonna see, like with a lot of the different products, because Napoleon's Canadian made. Certain lines of their product are all made in Canada.
Okay.
Some are offshore. Like the Big Green Eggs, I think they're made in Mexico, I believe, or they were at one point. I don't know which way they ship in, if Tariffs, but like Traeger Canada is separate. So like with our Traeger, we're not hitting, even though Traeger's an American company, we have a full Canadian sales team.
Right.
And with that they come through Prince George.
Right.
Is where our product comes from. So, because on the Canadian grills, we got French and English.
Right.
And a really funny story, he works with Napoleon now. He was with Traeger. He was the one that converted Alex. Alex Moreau. It's Will. Yeah, he's a really good buddy of mine. Yeah. So he's with Napoleon now, and then my other buddy Joe Patrick, he's just down in Dorchester. He's the Napoleon rep. Yeah. So I know, and then Rakesh with Napoleon, he was a Traeger guy too. So you get a lot of. Yeah. And the funny thing is, Napoleon's not a competitor really to Traeger.
That's true. Yeah.
They work in conjunction. Yeah. So, but what I do with customers when they come in. The customer knows what they want.
Okay.
I just have to ask enough questions.
Right.
I mean, I've been in family business since I was 10 years old. I'm 40. What am I? I'm 41 now.
Okay.
And with customers, I don't want to sell them something they don't want.
Right.
So I don't believe in that old traditional sales guy, like tell the customers, like ask them the questions.
Yeah.
And when I ask enough questions, the customer will give me an answer of what they want. I got to listen to the customer.
Yeah.
Because what I want them to want
Yeah.
might not be what their need or what they even. So when I take that approach, it works so much better because because what I am is I'm an educator.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They're going to come back to me. They're going to come back on a Saturday when me and Alex and all the boys were all in the store talking barbecue, and they're going to learn. They're going to learn the brisket. And
Right.
I had one guy was never really a griller. He was a guard at one of the prisons, and he catered a 120 person wedding with me on Instagram.
No way.
I walked him through, and he cooked brisket. And I'd get the message like, "Hi, this is going on. What do I do here?" And it's like, "Okay, well, you're ready for the wrap." And everyone like freaked right out. And
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it's education. Like they come back. That's what they're looking for. So when you get that hardcore griller in here, it's the barbecue is just the vehicle.
Right.
It's the community that you're building. Because what happens when you teach that guy?
Yeah.
They go out and they teach everyone else, and that's where our passion comes from, because we're willing to hop on an airplane and go to Florida to go to a barbecue competition, and 9 of us, and bring my father out of the first time out of province without my mother.
Okay.
And we were surprised that he came with us.
Yeah. So what was this competition that you went to?
It's called Pigfest. So down in South Central Florida.
Yeah.
It's called the Florida Triple Crown.
Okay.
So their biggest one's Pigfest. So Pigfest is, I think they started in the 80s, like late 80s, maybe early 90s.
Yep.
And they just been building on it. And then this year they had, I think, total competitors from backyard and pro. They had,
I think it was 90 or
90
Holy shit.
competitors.
Okay.
So you had guys all from all around the U.S. And then you get Publix, which is a big Florida-based food store.
Yeah.
And they had all the sauce companies. So we're down there for this event, and then you had Blues Hog was there.
Yeah.
Meat Mitch was there.
Yeah.
You had what else did we have there?
Kinder was there.
Kinder, W Sauce. And Whiskey Ben had a team in. Cosmos was there. So you have all these guys, and then there's always the pre-parties.
Yeah.
And those are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You never know who you're going to run into.
You never know who's going to walk in the door.
Yeah.
No, you never know who's going to walk in the door. So 9 of us went down this year of our crew, and it was.
So what's the format for that? Do you have like specific things you have to cook, or?
So in Kansas City, there's 4 meats.
Okay.
You have your ribs, chicken.
Okay.
Which you can do thigh or you can do leg.
Okay.
Ribs, chicken, and then you get brisket and pulled pork.
Okay.
So you got your 4 meats, and then they have ancillaries too. So you can do desserts, sauce competitions, but the main competition is 4 meats.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and then
is there any rules in terms of like how you have to cook it? Does it have to be really traditional? Like what's the?
There's a timeline.
Okay.
You have to turn in. There's a timeline you have to turn in by a certain time.
Okay.
So you
And
get half an hour turn in time for each.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
and then what's it? It's 10 o'clock the night before, I think it is.
Yeah, I think you can start cooking at 10 p.m. the night before the competition.
Okay, so only during that time, and then hand it in during that specific time.
Yeah,
That's when you're putting your briskets on, your pulled pork.
Okay. Okay.
That's one of the main reasons behind Alex's offset, because he's going to run it in a competition. And
Nice.
and who knows where you're going to...
It's going to be the training ground.
Exactly. It'll either work or it won't. There might be something on a Traeger sitting beside it just in case.
Yeah, just in case. Oh, that's funny. So, and it's kind of because we were talking about it just before, but you were saying you guys are doing a pretty big competition this summer, right?
Yeah. So Rathleysing Community Center, they're the ones that put on the Nova Scotia Stampede.
Yep.
They're actually out in Calgary because they were nominated. It was a first year event, and they're not nominated for top sporting events. So there's 3 nominations. They were in the top 3 for best event in Canada for an under $2 million budget.
Yeah.
So I think they were up against the IIHF World Figure Skating Championships, and there's another one, and then they were a first year event, but they got the nominations huge.
Yeah.
And for the Stampede, because the Stampede, like, if anyone hasn't been to it, like,
That's
it was...
yeah, and it's getting more and more popular.
Yeah,
like,
it was what we needed. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And so that was just... So we get to the Stampede, actually, we'll go back to the barbecue. So the barbecue comp, they're putting it on. So they had Rib Fest last year in Truro.
Okay.
And Rib Fest is not coming back. So they reached out and asked us if we'd help them put on a barbecue competition. I was like, of course, because we partnered with On the Stampede and a bunch of other things. And so that's how it came about. So now we're getting that in the process and just fine tuning some of the. They don't know the lingo, we know the lingo, so we're helping them get the website. That way, when we do put it out, that there's not confusion. And but we're really excited to partner with them on that event. Coldstream's going to have a big beer tent, and there's going to be inflatable palooza, and they're doing at that same time they're doing Fire Fit. So Fire Fit's going to be going on, and we're going to add like probably we're talking. I don't know if you ever heard of Cracked Armor.
Yes, actually.
So Mark's a friend, and I think he's going to be involved because I am a veteran too.
Okay.
Yeah. So so we're looking at putting that kind of approach. We don't know. We're just still in some of the planning stages, but yeah, it's going to be just a fun event. Get everyone from Atlantic Canada. Like we got a bunch of the dealers. Like hopefully we see you guys there with your big trailer.
Yeah,
I'd love to see that up there. Jason Woods, I don't know, you might know Jason. He's in the Spring Valley over in Kensington. He's a Traeger dealer. He's a Traeger Platinum dealer. I think he might be putting a team in Sunpoke. It's stuff like that. So we're just kind of getting together, making a big community, and they asked, you know, it's like we'd be a big would you be interesting in being a sponsor? I was like, honestly, it wouldn't be fair for the other guys, you know. If Elmwood's putting the time to come in from Moncton, they don't want to see my colors flying. It's like, you know, we want to go down, and it's like, okay, well, you're New Brunswick, where are you from? And it's like, okay, well, Moncton. It's like, okay, go talk to these guys. Are you from? So we're, you know, it's going to be a first year event, but we hope to do an annual and grow on it from there, because what we seen in Pigfest is what we
like to see at home.
Yeah,
not quite that big because they got 100. You never know.
Not this year.
It's just, not this year.
Every year, grow it a little bit more. You work the kinks out, and when you do events like that, like we did Eggfest the first year. We're on our third year this year. We did the first one in our parking lot here, and like just doing that one was we figured out just by doing that one how important it is to have like parking. Right, like that's a big thing. Like, we were like, we don't know how many people are gonna come, so we can probably squeeze it here, and people can, you know, park in the neighborhoods and all that. But like, parking was a shit show, right? So second year we did it at a brewery, and you know, with the brewery, the big issue was, you know, they have to staff their brewery, and you know, it's not. They were aware at the end and saw a little bit of the oversight. They didn't expect there was going to be that many people, so just a little bit understaffed, and you know, maybe on that day get like someone that has maybe a separate stand that's serving cans or something like that, so you're not always just pouring from the draft and things like just little things like that do you get from growing the event, right?
Oh, for sure.
Bugs out of it.
Yeah, exactly. So
we don't got to worry about that one. I think they got 65 acres or something like that to work with.
There you go. We'll see. Hopefully it can fit the 500 gallon.
I think it'll fit.
Yeah. Are you putting that like on a trailer and everything?
It's gonna be built onto a trailer. Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait to see that. So what date are you guys? Do you have a date set?
It's July 19th is going to be the date. Yeah.
Cool.
19th and 20th.
I'm gonna put it in my calendar.
Yeah, that weekend. So there's going to be a judges course on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what's going on. Like some of the stuff like Friday night, there'll probably be something going on.
Yeah.
And then competing starts Saturday night.
Yeah.
And then turn-ins for the product will be around lunchtime, give or take lunchtime on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then awards, I think, are usually around 3 or 4.
Yeah. Mid-afternoon.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you do it same kind of like format as like the Pigfest and
yeah,
stuff
it's
like that,
gonna be
right?
a Kansas City barbecue competition. So
I have to brush up on I'm gonna have to watch a shitload of YouTube videos to try to figure out the strategy.
Yeah.
I'll have to watch your guys' videos pretty much.
There's a guy down in Valley, Nova Scotia, Phil. So I think he's president of the Atlantic Canadian Barbecue Association, and then he was VP of the Canadian. So he's a big competitor. He does really well in barbecue. He's been on a couple really good teams down the states, like Memphis, and he's competed with some really good guys, and it's a few of us are pretty excited for the
nice. So what makes a good barbecue team? Like, do you guys have specific roles? Like, what?
Well, you need one really good lead,
Okay, there you go.
and then the boys will join.
Yeah.
Just practice. It's like
Okay.
like our buddy
your time
Chad.
in.
Yeah, yeah.
Chad
Just
said
get
it.
the
He's
sweat
made a
equity,
lot of
right?
really bad barbecue before he made good barbecue.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, in the beginning, like some of your turn-ins, you just got to start somewheres
Yeah.
and just put in what you get, and eventually you just, the repetitiveness, you get better and better over time, and then
And you can't expect to win right off the get-go.
No, that's it, eh? Yeah. Do you find is there if someone were to want to get into competing and all that, is there a certain way that they should start like working as a team? Like, do you do specific cooks at your house? Like, I found, and when we're doing the demos, I've worked in the service industry, so like doing things repetitively or working kind of a high stress environment doesn't stress me out that much because I've been um, involved with it. But the people that are working around me, it stresses them out just a little bit.
Yeah.
But it still works out. We do our share, and we work well as a team. I find that might be something that people have to be mindful of. How do you guys deal with it? Like,
there's lots on social media,
Yeah.
and then you can take training courses.
okay,
Yeah, so they do have training courses. I took one back 2022 down in Clare. Phil had put on a course, and he had Jim Johnson, and he had come up, and we just did a course, and he showed us how to do everything and all the processes and some of his secrets. Because a lot of the guys, you'll never know their secrets. It's pretty secretive. Because that's that one edge puts you above that other guy.
Right.
When the judges, put it on their palate, and you just absorb it over time. Alex has been practicing at home, all getting
Go
ready.
to an event and just watch.
Yeah.
Just go around and see what's actually going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're lucky enough, you get them at turning point, you might be able to sneak a couple bites of food or. Yeah, that's what the amount of meat. We were just walking through that competition down there in Florida, and I had a tomahawk going there at one point. With all the meat was mostly gone, but there's a couple little skins. I'm walking through eating that, and then you'd be going along, and all of a sudden they'd throw you out go by a booth, and they'd be like, "Yeah, here's a big piece of tri-tip," and it's like, just put a big piece of meat in your hand, and you just,
Yeah, just chomping down on that.
Yeah, and the community aspect. It's just the community. The community's so fun.
And 95% of the people there are willing to talk to you, willing to give you some pointers, point you in the right direction.
That's the big.
Everybody's in it for the same thing.
Yeah, that's the big thing too. Is people are willing to answer your questions, and you don't have to be scared of asking what you want. Right?
They might not tell you all the.
Yeah, they don't want to tell you the secret recipe,
but they'll definitely point you in the right direction.
Yeah. Do you have do you remember the best taste that you've put in your mouth in any of these barbecues? Like, is there one that stands out that you're like, man, that brisket
piece of pork? So I'll let you tell that one.
Down the Pigfest,
Alfagoni
was cooking Iberian black pig.
Black belly. Iberian black belly. Something like that.
Yeah. Pork belly.
Okay.
And by far, probably the best bite of barbecue I've ever had.
No way.
I can't even explain it.
It was just like we were all, and we're like just looking at each other like, what, like how, what, like, and it was just so basic.
Yeah.
But Al's just it's like a lot of people say he's one of the best out there.
Okay.
Cooking over an open fire.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, he'll do everything over open fire. He's got a really good chimichurri too, like a bottled rub.
Yeah.
So I carry that at the shop, but it's really good. Yeah, when you're doing your steaks and your tri-tip.
It's cool too because like I think a lot of people don't understand. Like, I guess in Moncton, you've got a lot of people that navigate towards the chain restaurants and things like that, and they think the meals that are served there are, they're made to be savorous and big, and it's food to eat, and that's it. But if you really go into go and have a culinary experience in a restaurant where there's a good chef and all that, they're really getting a lot out of little, so little, right? They're using very little ingredients, but their cooking process and all that. And I find like a lot of people don't know that like these barbecue guys are doing the same thing. Like they're doing a lot with very little, right?
We get it all the time. Like we'll get people come up and they're like, "Are you guys chefs?"
Yeah.
And I'll be like, "No, I'm a chimney sweep." And that's like that's
Run excavators for a living.
yeah. And they're like, "Wow!" And even the chefs, like Chef Chad up at Celtic Lodge, we've done quite a few cooks with him, and we just get the kitchen. He's just like, everyone's here, and whenever we go, like, so we do our events. We just show up. They supply the meat. We do it all as marketing.
Okay.
So we show up for the experience, and
Okay.
we'll go out, and when you get to cook beside a chef like that, and it's awesome because you learn so much, just to the point of like how to separate an egg from a yolk. Little stuff that we wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah.
And to have him come in just looking at our food, we didn't realize like what, because we're just producing barbecue, so we do it every weekend in our backyard.
Yeah.
And then we go up here with these chefs, and they're like, because in culinary school, they don't learn barbecue.
Right.
They learn liquid smoke and stuff like that. So when you can create the real deal, it just blows their mind because they weren't taught to create it.
Right.
And then they ask 100 questions, and then it's like, man, like I'm just a chimney sweep. Like you tell me, like you're the.
You go to these fancy kitchens and don't expect the chefs to be asking
you questions.
You're expecting that you're going to be asking them for stuff.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Now the things is when we're cooking with them, they're sharing some of their stuff, and I'm amazed by what they can create, because it's like some of the stuff's just, oh man, because of the barbecue and some of the stuff we've got to try is just
that must be a humbling experience.
It's very humbling. Yeah, it's.
But on the flip side, you put those guys in the pit with you guys, and probably be a humbling experience for them too, right?
Yeah, and then some of the restaurants are even cooking on them now. And then I just consult, and they'll get some grills, and then they start serving pulled pork, and there's one restaurant up by the Kanzo Causeway. They put them in there, and then the next thing I know, online they're doing prime rib nights, and the rating on the restaurant's going up. That's pretty cool. In that, because one goal I always said, like with Alex and the boys, it's like my goal is to feed as many people off of Traeger as I can, so they can have that experience.
Yeah.
And now not everyone likes meat, obviously, so I even, some of my cooks, if there's some vegans around, I'll try to even let them like bring a product, and I'll try to clean the grill up, and then we'll put that on the side.
You have a separate grill for that.
Yeah.
And I remember one lady, we had vegan burgers on there, and she's like, "What'd you do to these?" And she come back for more and more. I think she took the rest of them home just because she got the extra layer of flavor. And because smoke is another layer of flavor.
That's true, eh?
Yeah.
So, you're using this term very, very, very seriously, and I'm wondering, are you really just a chimney sweeper?
100%. Yeah. I got no desire to be a caterer. We just enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
It's all about people. So if it's we're starting to get really busy because a lot of people are requesting us. We had to cut back on some of the smaller, because it's all about community. In the end, we love getting out in our community and feeding the community and taking part. Every year we do. Like our local junior A hockey team, we cook for their family meet and greet when they meet all their host families. And then we cook for usually the home opener. Okay. And then we get the opportunities to the Rex were our opportunity for cook for Brett Kissel, and then so those events, if it's the right place, and it's because we don't want to make a work out of it.
No, it's people you meet along the way, the conversations you have.
Yeah. So would you almost say that your passion being the priority has allowed you to do, set this goal up, and then the residual is that they end up coming to the store and stuff like that?
Yeah, eventually, or they get acquainted with what barbecue is and how tight the family is. And it was actually, we up in Moncton for Dennis Prescott, a local Moncton. We went to his book signing, and he explained, I couldn't understand why I loved it so much. And Dennis explained it. He's like, I fell in love with feeding people. And watching how happy, if you could make a good meal, how happy people were when they ate it,
Yeah.
and it just made so much sense.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wow, that's it. Like that's why I like to, 'cause I just love feeding people.
Yeah.
But I don't have the desire. I'm a chimney sweep, so I don't really have the desire to open a restaurant or
Yeah.
anything like that.
That's a whole other
No, we'll
business.
probably
too,
end up
right?
dragging his offset around. Maybe
Yeah.
go to some competitions down. Or
Oh
who-
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Take off
it's
to Florida next winter, and
Yeah.
we got quite a community of friends now. Like we got just pockets like that. Like
Yeah.
we got a huge pocket in Florida, and there's a huge pocket of the guys in California.
Yeah.
They're so popular. There's a whole bunch of barbecue guys there. In Salt Lake City, Utah, that's where the
That's
HQ
a big, yeah, with the
triggers
HQ.
HQ. So I've been there twice, and
Yeah.
when you get down there and they have their events, it's insane, the connections
Yeah.
and just the people and the Myers-Briggs. Did you ever do the Myers-Briggs, like the 16
No.
quadrant, and find your personality and what you're?
No.
So I did that, and I learned that my personality is the campaigner.
Okay.
So I'm the guy that gets everything put together.
Yeah.
But it's like pick up the pieces behind me. I'll connect everyone. I'll make all the connections.
Okay.
But I'm very high energy, and then I got really good staff.
Yeah.
My mother. So we're a family business, so my mother
Okay.
works with me. My brother-in-law, ex-brother-in-law, he works with me, and we all. It's just a really good. We got a really good team.
Yeah.
So it's nice that way. But yeah, the campaign. So that's what I do. I just connect.
Okay.
So I just connect everyone, and then
Yeah.
I like the party, and
I'm gonna give you your nickname. You're probably the scientist. I feel like you're
I'm the
the.
quiet guy that stays by the grill.
You always know the silent ones up to some tricks there. It's gonna be good if you got the silent guy beside the grill, right?
if anyone's making a meal,
Yeah.
I'm going to Alex's house.
I'm gonna take that recommendation there. So, I think one question that a lot of people, especially grill enthusiasts or Traeger enthusiasts, have because they've been waiting so long for it. I'm wondering if you've tried the flat rock and how.
I've had a flat rock for 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know.
we got 4 or 5 around where we're at because we all hopped in trucks.
Couple trips to the States.
Couple
Because
trips to the States.
they got them in the States, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've had them for a while. They're awesome.
Okay.
I probably don't use mine as much as I should.
Yeah.
But just the quality and the build and just talking to a lot of my friends that were influencers for other brands, how much they like that one more. And,
Okay.
And compared to their other brands that I used to represent.
Yeah.
And
Because we had a big influx of obviously Blackstone has risen in popularity, and we had quite a bit of people that have bought them last year. But when the Flat Rock had first been announced and just being in the U.S., we had some pre-orders for it. But those pre-orders are still kind of waiting, right?
Yeah.
So,
It's impressive how consistent the temperature is
Okay.
across the entire thing.
okay.
and then it's
Amazing.
inset into the grill. So like a lot of the other, like not naming names, but a lot of the other grills are offset.
Okay.
So you get hot spots at one end or the other.
Okay.
So this is inset with 3 separate chambers for each burner.
Okay.
So it keeps it, so you can actually have like a hot, medium, and cooler zone.
Okay.
And it's actually legit.
Yeah.
No way.
So if you want to finish, these few are done, you can move them over here, and it's actually,
You
and
got
then
the cooler side going.
Yeah.
or you can have her hot right straight across.
So would it I've really never used any of these flat top grills. Would you say that these are something that are good for any type of anything you're cooking, or do they have limitations?
There's really no limitation on a griddle, but I mean, you're not going to do low and slow.
Yeah,
You're not going to,
right.
it's the big thing they do with you can go back on social media, or you can even Google it.
Yeah.
You can do the Traeger Flat Rock pancake test.
Okay.
So what they did is they dump pancake dough
Yeah.
over the whole top of the thing, and they
Yeah.
pull it off, and you can see how even it is.
Okay.
So that's the claim. That's the claim, is it's just such an even cooker.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in terms of what you are currently using your flat rock with, what are you consistently what would you say is your go-to
Smash
recipe?
burgers.
Smash
Like
burgers.
if we're
yeah,
gonna
I
fire
feel
it up,
like-
it's for smash burgers, and I haven't got into too much of a stir fries or anything like that, but I've
Breakfast.
watched. Yeah,
Breakfast,
breakfast.
yeah.
Yeah, I've done
Eggs.
bacon, eggs, pancakes. It's fun
Yeah.
doing that. done that a few times. But you can go on social media and some of the stir fries some of these guys are making and stuff. Like it's
I'm a big stir-fry guy,
pretty
so.
insane. Yeah, yeah.
One question I've been kind of wondering, obviously with some of the more recent stuff with the tariffs and stuff like that. One thing that we've noticed is, we've got one brand that we carry that's super popular, which is the Meat Church spices, and
Yeah.
they are produced in Texas, and those are going to go up in price temporarily, or we're hoping temporarily. Are there any Canadian brands right now that you're carrying that you're really like, stoked about?
We got Dark Side of the Grill stuff now. He's out
Okay.
at Edmonton.
Okay.
When we were in Florida, he said, "You guys need my stuff." So it's like from the man himself. So I was like, "Yeah, sure, Mel." I was like, "We'll bring her in." And little note did we know it was coming, like with all it was going to go on. And then there's Royal Nova out of Quispam Sis up St. John way there.
They're good.
Okay.
Yeah, we got Steve. So Steve, his products are in our store, and he does a lot through a lot of the dealers locally.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got there's a 1908, but there's quite a few in Ontario. So you get like 1908, and there's some of the influencers in Canada. They have their own little brands and stuff too.
Yeah.
So there is quite a few Canadian brands. Prairie Barbecue, he does some.
Okay.
Yeah, he does some, and then. Barbecue's big down south, so we just had a trade show there the other weekend in Halifax, and it's really hard because we're getting better at barbecue in Canada, but we're not still 100% quite there. There's some guys that got it dialed pretty good, but still, like Meat Church has been and probably always will be one of our top sellers. Yeah. I'm actually going to see Matt. I'm going to be down at Meat Church at the end of April.
Nice.
I'm going down for a trade show, and we're going back to. We'll be at the Meat Church block party.
Okay.
Yeah. So
should tell him to figure out a way to make him in Canada.
Yeah, there's who knows what conversations, because the one of his really good buddies is our buddy Chad from Whiskey Bent Barbecue, and who knows what will happen someday. But I think give it some time. It's everything's so new yet. We give it some time. We bulk ordered, so we should be good for most of the year on our Blues Hog and Meat Church and W Sauce and like all our top sellers. Yeah, so we took our SKUs that we did previous years and kind of bring them up a bit and try to just in case, and because even without the tariff issue, barbecue's growing,
right?
And demand and supplies been since the pandemic, because everyone went to their backyard during the pandemic. Yeah. So there's a lot of new backyard hobbyists in the backyard. Yeah. So the demand's there. Yeah. And so we brought them in just in case, because usually springtime there was a little lapse anyways without this issue. Yeah. But $6 a bottle more when you're looking at, I think it's gonna be like $22.50 for a bottle of Meat Church. Yeah. But I had customers in my store before that were buying on Amazon for $20 a bottle. Okay. Before they came to my store. So if people want something, they're gonna pay for it.
I'm like, I think it's crazy that it's at that price. I understand why it's at that price, but I'm like just as looking at it from a business standpoint, it's just like, oh my God, like to have inventory that's at that price it worries you, right? And that's the biggest part. But to your point,
and the volume that you have to carry.
Yeah. So.
And with everything we have in, we're gonna merge into meat. Yeah. And that's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna jack prices because the price that we're gonna keep it at that price till we're out for a customer, and then after that, once we're starting to get, then we'll start trying to figure out what. But we always try to support the local, like Steve from Royal Nova. He's been out there just jamming. He goes to all the shows, and it's like I told him, it's like the local stuff. It's hard because Steve goes out and sells at a show, and I'm like, Steve, I need return customer into my store. Like I need that, because if not, it sits on the shelf and doesn't move because I'm not you. So it's just trying to figure out. I think there'll be a little bit of process change in the Canadian stuff. And, and awareness. Just it's
yeah, and you make a good point there, because it's like these guys starting as obviously enthusiasts and then kind of growing a business out of it. It's obviously an income generator for them, but I think their business strategy has always been like, I'll be the person that's going to sell them all the time. But now that like some people want to carry them and all
Yeah.
that, but it's it's the other business owner has to figure out how it's going to make sense to carry them and to make a profit from
Exactly.
there. And when you start a business in a way where it's like purely out of passion, sometimes it's hard to look at it and then kind of steer away from being like only the passion. It's actually like, okay, now I have to make business decisions, right?
Yeah.
So
And it's weird because a lot of our products, it's really hard. Like, because we had the show and you get products, and it's like, okay, well, this product, you know, this is a Canadian product, but they're each headquartered in the U.S.
Right.
So it's like, how do you know, a lot of our base ingredients come from the U.S.
Right.
So is that the tariff going to affect those prices when they're actually making the product? So is it going to drive
Right.
up our, there's so many different processes, and
yeah,
it's just time, and it's like, some are just going, it's yeah, time will tell. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so hard. We went through some of this before with products, the
Yeah.
U.S. Canada thing back in years back, and like we're a hearth business, so we do wood stoves and pellet stoves.
Yep.
So the last time, there was the tariffs came on, the steel tariffs.
Okay.
It drove the price of Canadian products in
Right.
our industry up
Right.
because of the price of steel, because it was produced in the U.S. and
then sent over
to Canada.
Right.
So you got all these other cross-border stuff going on. It's like,
Yeah.
it's really hard to like. You have to pick a company and look, and it's like, holy cow! Like, again, you go back to Traeger US, Traeger Canada.
Yeah.
All our Traeger product comes through Prince George.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're not going to be tariffed, but then you get some
Yeah.
of the other, like you look at like Weber.
Yeah.
They're a massive brand,
Right.
and what's going to happen there with Weber, and
I think what's really interesting is that there is this sense of unity that's happened with this whole situation in Canada, which is a super positive thing. And although it sucks that it has to come from a situation like this for it to happen, but what I'm really, I'm already sensing it by reading through the forums and stuff like that, and seeing that it where the biggest issue lies with this is that if people start changing their behavior towards US products, they may do it like for a very long time, way past the tariffs. And I think that's where US companies have to be like really, I mean, they can't do anything currently right now, but I think that's the reality for them that is going to be a big worry, right? Because if people just say like, screw US products, I'm just not buying them, like, that's not even a tariff thing. That's just a choice.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
And I think
and it's really hard when you get into the vehicles and stuff, because like there's like that can go into a different whole other thing.
Yeah.
And then like Alex, he just got a new excavator, and when he got it, it's like, are these tariffs going to affect this? Because
it's tariffs on a $500,000 piece of gear.
That's a lot of tariffs.
That's a lot of tariffs.
So you kind of get the different industries, and it's like, and it's it's hard.
I know.
It's like, what do you do? Like on our floor, we got lots of Canadian American made products.
Yeah.
We got like on the wood stove end, we got Canadian American. On propane stoves, we got Canadian American.
Yeah.
And some companies have that we deal with have even like through process, because everything's going up no matter, even before tariffs.
Yeah,
so
it was.
Some companies are starting to eat some of the margin, so we're not actually taking the full.
Yeah.
So it's spread across a couple channels, and so you have some of those different things going on. But again, it's so early to tell. It's
Now, I was just reading before we started this, and just as of Monday, one of the oldest companies in Canada, Hudson Bay, they're going down to 6 stores officially, so they're liquidating a shitload of stores. And I think that's kind of the reality today with brick and mortar being like, people aren't going to the stores as much, and having these massive stores with massive inventories, it is a hit on a company, especially if they're trying to get into like e-commerce. But now, they've got so much inventory that like it's hard to just downsize with those the real estate products that you have, right? You have those leases, you have those employees, all of that. So they'll be laying off like 10,000 employees. I think that's like it's massive layoffs for that. The reason why I'm bringing that up is like how have you seen the past couple of years or even the past 5 years with your business and the traffic and things like that? Or are there things that you've done to kind of offset that? Or
So barbecue's kind of what we've done the last 2 years. Like,
yeah,
so like, I was in the Navy, get out of the Navy, join the family business, and then I was still pretty young, so I kind of did the out west thing, instead of laying our employees off, and then I come back full time, and once my wife got pregnant with my daughter, so I was like, well, I'm not doing the out west thing anymore, so I was like, I'm gonna come back and commit to the family business, and that's when I started building the grill to kind of offset. And the biggest thing I find is you can't replace service.
right.
Like, I just came up against a sale. It was an online sale. Someone was going to buy a wood stove. I won't say brands and I won't say companies, but there's this wood stove and it's about 650 pounds.
Yeah.
And they were going to deliver it to Cape Breton Island for cheaper, free delivery.
Okay.
650 pounds stove, free delivery to Cape Breton.
Okay.
And it's like, how do you do that? So this is what I'm up against. Like, he's already beat me on price.
Yeah.
And I knew who the sale, because I know lots of people.
Yeah.
And I knew the guy who, because I seen the listings. So I went on Google, and I was like, "You're talking about this?" And he's like, "Well, how'd you know that?" I was like, "Well, because I know the guy." And and then on the service end, in the end, he's like, "Well, you gave me a good service," because he was just looking online, and in the end, it's service.
Yeah.
You have to serve the customer.
Yeah.
Because behind, Amazon's pretty good at it on some stuff, returns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's all I have as a human, is providing that service, that, that person to person, because we will still always need that no matter what.
I agree.
A lot of people do hide behind a screen now, but it's funny because I'm a huge supporter of influencers, because I call it art.
Yeah.
Like, it's art, because I can't create it.
Yeah.
I can do reels, I can do videos and do all this stuff, but there's people that are artists and that are really good at, like Dennis Prescott, and you get Jason Hub City Foodies. He's just like his TikTok, because he's just a character when he gets on there, that crazy voice. But those guys are artists, so I like supporting them as much, because those guys are the ones that are driving people to my store for the experience, because they'll say, like, they're cooking, they'll be like, "Where'd you get that?" And it's like, "Go talk to these guys." And that creates that personal, and that's our only savior is service. You have to have the service, because it's systems are a big thing. Canadian Tire, like, I'm a millennial, so like when I go on, I'm looking at inventory, it's like, because my time's busy, and it's like, if I know it's there, or if I can, like, say, reach out to someone on Instagram, "Do you have this?" Then I'll be that sort of thing. But Canadian Tire, I can go in and it's like, this is on the shelf, and I know it's in this aisle. So systems are a huge thing for, like, me as a millennial, because it's my time means a lot. It's like, if I can go on and know that, if Alex can go on and find a part at one of the dealers that he knows, and he can go right there and get it. But that's a whole thing too. Because it's
and you guys, like, what's really cool is that you're building that community, you're part of the community, and I think people, when they're coming in, they know they're talking to a barbecue guy, and that's part of the service, right?
Exactly.
Like, maybe you're not even talking about the grill specifically, but you're talking about something that you've cooked, and they're asking questions about that, and that relationship that they're building there, they're now trusting you with their next decision, right? They're being like, when I'm going to be ready to upgrade my grill, or I'm going to buy my first grill, I'm going to go see Matt. Right? Because Matt has given me so much already that, there's no one else I would go see, right?
So we do home show. So next week we have a home show, and my customers come with me. So, like, Alex and the boys, because we love talking barbecue. So they'll come into the booth over the weekend, and it's funny because customers are like, "Well, do you work here?" "No, I'm a customer."
Yeah.
And they're in the booth and they get so confused.
Yeah.
But when they come in the booth, like I already know because people aren't going to talk.
Yeah.
So they'll come in and they're looking at a wall with like 30, 40 spices, and it's
Yeah.
like, it's too much for them. They can't
It's
comprehend.
overwhelming if you don't know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
then I'll go, it's like, okay, what are you using it for?
Yeah.
Then I'll be like, what do you usually cook?
Yeah.
Do you like beef or, and then it's like, okay, this product is what I get most people start out with.
Yeah.
Try there, that's like a central palate. And then let me know, do you like more heat? Do you want less heat? And then we'll kind of guide you to the,
Yeah.
and then like we get people now, like when we go to these shows, they come running in and they're like, oh, you got it. And they're just, because they ran out and they couldn't figure out where to get it.
Yeah.
And it's like, we got stickers on the back of the bottle, but it's, but yeah, they're just so panicked and so excited because it's like for example, Blues Hog Champions. I don't even buy it by the squeeze bottle anymore. I buy it by the jug because anything that's cooked in the oven, I can't get it down unless I get a lot of Blues Hog on it.
Yeah.
Because once you get used to eating good barbecue, it's hard to eat in a restaurant.
That's true.
It's on the meat end anyways.
Yeah.
But
I wanna kind of finish off on a kind of little rapid fire thing. I want to get some final, you guys being the barbecue experts. I have a couple of questions about things that I think that people will be curious to see what your suggestions are. So I'll start off with really easy ones. Best overall spice?
honey hog.
Honey hog's definitely,
Honey hog.
you can eat it by the spoon.
Okay. Best pellet or pellet flavor, if we have to keep it. I don't know if you have to say Traeger, so.
No, I'm not. Lumberjack competition is my biggest move in.
Okay.
Is my biggest move in pellet,
Okay.
but again, it's going to be affected by tariffs and.
Yeah.
So for the last 6 months, my go-to's been the Traeger Louisiana, or the Louisiana Slugger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Traeger.
Nice. Best Traeger grill?
$650, but you can't get any more.
Yeah.
The Woodridge, I think the Woodridge is going to be just everything we've heard.
Okay.
And
Any of the Ironwood products. Or
Okay. Nice. Best, like, what would you say is the best cut of steak that someone should get if they want to grill on a Traeger?
I like the top sirloin cap.
Top sirloin, yeah.
I'm a ribeye guy.
Ribeye, yeah. And final one, what would be the one tip that you would give someone when it comes to barbecuing?
Have fun. Like, don't make a task out of it because, just grow with what you got.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. Amazing. I liked your first one too. You got to fuck up a lot of barbecue to get
Well, you
good
do.
at it.
You're not going to make good barbecue your first go around.
That's true. That's
You
true.
got to make a whole lot of bad barbecue before it becomes good.
Yeah.
Actually, on a Traeger, I think your chicken, like, if you,
Oh, you can't screw up
You can't screw up chicken
Really?
on a Traeger. Yeah, it's like, yeah, you can't. That's what Whiskey Ben, he always says. He's, the biggest thing you're going to notice when you start cooking on a Traeger, you'll know your biggest differences are going to be on game,
Okay.
fish, and
Okay.
chicken.
Okay.
Because people that eat chicken off a Traeger, it's insane.
Yeah.
Like,
You can't dry out chicken.
Right. Yeah. Especially not on a Traeger.
Yeah,
No.
no. It's,
I don't understand why, but
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. It was an absolute pleasure.
That was quick.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was just- it was like,
It was
Has
so
that been an
fun.
hour?
yeah,
More than an hour.
yeah,
That's a wrap,
crazy.
guys.
That was
Perfect.
awesome. That was fun.